The Jared Dillian Show.
I'm Jared Dillian. This is the Jared Dillian Show. If you want to call to talk about your money, please call 844-305-7800. That's 844-305-7800. This is the Jared Dillian Show. Yeah, so, decent day today. Headed down to Charleston tomorrow to meet with the architect about the new house. See the initial plans. My friend Jerry, who's going to be on the show tomorrow night, his name is Jerry Dean, and he's in the roofing business. And one of the things we're going to learn on tomorrow night's show is that there is a lot of money in the roofing business. Like, it is very lucrative, amazingly so. And that's a point that I always like to illustrate on the show. Money is not scarce. There's lots of it out there. And you can find it in the strangest places. You just got to have your eyes open. So he's doing really well in roofing. But anyway, he says, what's going to be your reaction to the plans? Are you going to be happy? You're going to be sad? You're going to make changes? And I'm like, I have no idea. I've never done this before. So it's going to be good. Also, there's no premium gas around here. Still, no premium gas. Oh, it's killing me. It's killing me. A healthy economy is not plagued by shortages and dysfunction. Oh, no premium gas. I mean, this is as a result of the hack of the Colonial Pipeline, and still no gas. They have unleaded, they have 87, but they don't have 93. So this is a never-ending ass ache. I have a new car in the garage that I can't drive because I need premium gas. So anyway, I want to spend some time talking about the awesome portfolio. And this is, I'm really big on portfolio construction because most people get this wrong. They have 100% stocks, they have 80% stocks, they have all kinds of weird stuff, they have Bitcoin, and they have too much risk, So I really have spent most of my career trying to come up with a portfolio that maximizes your return while minimizing your risk. And we got it. And I called it the awesome portfolio. So, yesterday was an interesting day. Everything was down, except for gold, which was flat, but everything was down. But if you had the awesome portfolio, it's better than if you had just 100% stocks. So, now, let's go back to the crash in March of last year, which was fun. I mean, might have been unpleasant for you, but it was fun for me. It was awesome. Really, just the type of environment that I thrive in, I like volatility. Volatility is bad for you, but volatility is good for me. So, now we used to talk about the diversification benefits of bonds. And for a while, I was pushing the 35-65 portfolio, which actually did pretty well for a time. But now bonds have lost their diversification benefits, and we need to talk about another portfolio. But back in March of last year, if you had 100% stocks, you lost 32%. Oof level, 10 out of 10. Okay. If you had an 80-20 portfolio, you lost 24%. Oof. Oh. Now, if you had a 35-65 portfolio, you lost 7%. And that's pretty good. But here's the thing. You have these stocks for the long run, guys. Jeremy Siegel, they say the stock market returns 8% on average forever. It's been returning more than that lately. Maybe that happens, And one of the things we talked about, I don't know if it was last night or the night before, but we talked about people's return assumptions and how people think that stocks are going to return 15% going forward. So people's expectations are way out of whack. But the point is, we have no knowledge of what the best performing asset class will be in the future. We don't know. We don't know if it'll be stocks. Maybe it'll be something else. Maybe it will be gold. Maybe it'll be lumber. Lumber has been a high performing asset. So Who knows? But in the past, if you're doing this on a backwards-looking basis, stocks have been the highest performing asset class, and that's why we invest in stocks, because we do everything backward-looking. What worked in the past must work in the future, and that's why we invest in stocks. So now the entire U.S. population believes in buying stocks for the long run. Stocks are a cult in this country. Nassim Taleb once said they're the opiate of the masses. And yeah, stocks are a cult, and it's weird. It's unique to the United States. This doesn't exist in any other country. It existed for a period of time in Japan in the 1980s, but aside from that, there really hasn't been another country that says, we are going to put our retirement savings in the stock market. That doesn't exist anyplace else. I was looking at a chart of stocks in Chile today. Down, down, down. Interesting story about Chile. I can't get into the whole history. You had Salvador Allende, and then you had Pinochet, the dictatorship, which was a free market dictatorship. It's a super interesting place, but there's a backlash to that, and they're going from the right wing to the left wing, skipping over the space in between. They just elected a communist mayor of Santiago, which is the biggest city. She's kind of like AOC. She's 31 years old. She's attractive. And she's the face of communism in Chile. So that is something to keep an eye on. But the point of bringing up Chile is that, their stock market has done pretty well over time. And if you live there, you might say, stocks for the long run. Okay, until your government goes communist, then it's no longer stocks for the long run. Oops. Should have done something else. So you can't depend on a stock market for returns like that out into the future. We just have no knowledge of what's going to happen in the future. That could happen here. Who knows? Or something else bad. I don't know. You can't do that. So, we have 401ks in this country. We have IRAs, and people invest in stocks. And, one of these days it's not going to work. Okay. And I'm not saying that the stock market's going to go down today, or tomorrow, or next week, or next month, or next year. But I'm just saying that we're going to have a period of time in this country, whether it's 2021, 2031, 2041, but stocks are not going to return anything for a period of 10 to 20 years. In fact, they're going to go down. This happened. This happened from 1929 to 1946. Stocks returned nothing with a lot of volatility in between, and that can happen again. And if you are ignorant of history, and you think, well, that could never happen here, it has happened. Stock market went down 89% from 1929 to 1933. Okay? And obviously, it was the perfect storm of crap that led to that. It could happen. So if you don't know which asset class will outperform the others, so the solution is not to pick one and hope for the best, because if you get it wrong, the consequences could be terrible. So the solution is to hold a little bit of all asset classes. That's the solution, which is why we have the awesome portfolio, which is stocks, bonds, cash, gold, and real estate. You want to own every asset class. And maybe you don't like stocks, but you have to own stocks. Maybe you don't like bonds, you have to own bonds. This is not a portfolio where you can cherry pick your favorites. It only works if you replicate it in its entirety. So, if you had $1,000 in the awesome portfolio in 1972, you would have $42,000 today. An 80-20 portfolio would have given you $29,000 with twice the volatility. Yeah, true statement. Over the past 48 years, the awesome portfolio has returned, on average, about 8.4%, which is about the same as stocks. Crazy, right? And this is the highest average annual return of any combination of asset classes. And the best part is you would have booked these higher returns with much less risk, half the risk. So in finance, they have this thing called the Sharpe ratio. And not to get too technical, but the Sharpe ratio is basically returns divided by risk. It's called risk-adjusted returns. And the awesome portfolio has the highest Sharpe ratio of any portfolio that we discussed. So any portfolio is going to have a few down years over a 48-year span. The question is, how bad will those years be, and how often will they happen? Well, the Awesome portfolio saw a positive return for 40 out of the last 48 years. And in the worst year, out of that 48-year stretch, in the worst year, it had a negative 9.2% return. And that happened in 2008 during the financial crisis. And you're like, let me get this straight. I get 8.4% returns with half the volatility, and my worst year is down 9%. Where do I sign up? Exactly. This is the best thing in the world. I developed it. It was my idea. Okay? And you can check it out at jareddillionmoney.com. We have a whole document on it. It's got a bunch of charts and supporting data. You can learn about it. Again, it's 20% stocks, 20% gold, 20% cash, 20% bonds, 20% real estate. And you have to rebalance it annually. So I really believe in this. And my portfolio is structured kind of similar to the Awesome portfolio. I have other newsletters like the ETF 2020 newsletter, which is structured kind of similar to the Awesome portfolio. This is how you manage risk. Risk is more important than returns. People shop for mutual funds. They're like, oh, which one returns the most? Don't look at the one that returns the most. Look at the one that moves around the least. Focus on risk, not return. I'm Jared Dillion. This is The Jared Dillion Show.
The Jared Dillion Show.